Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, I guess. We are in the afternoon. As everybody's getting signed in, feel free to keep your cameras off or stay on mute. I think we do have quite a few of us on today, but feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions. You can also drop those into the chat box at any time. And we're going to get started in about 1 minute. I just want to give everybody the opportunity to join and connect. It looks like there's still some in our waiting room that are joining. So we are going to get started in about 1 minute. All right, almost there. I'm going to have a couple more people in the waiting room that are connecting. As soon as they connect, we will get started. You guys are attending a Learning Beyond teacher training. All right. All right, I think everybody has connected. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because I want to be mindful of your time. Welcome, everybody. My name is Molly. I'm an educational advisor with Learning Beyond Paper. I want to thank you all so much for taking the time to meet with me today. Since there are quite a few of us on, I am going to put everybody on mute, but please feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions, and you can also drop those into the chat box at any time. I am also recording this training, so if you want a copy of the training for afterwards, just put your email in the chat box. You can kind of private message me in there, and I will be sure to send it to you after the training today. It looks like there's a couple others that are joining, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to be walking you through the curriculum today, showing you how to use it, as well as some best practices for planning. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself. And let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do with Learning Beyond is an innovative curriculum that's 100% online. We are for students birth to 5 years old. So everything for you are going to be found under the online platform. So in order to sign into Learning Beyond, you're going to go to learningbeyondpaper.com/login. And then you're going to click this little login icon. This is going to pull up your login screen. Now, as a teacher, your director is going to be the one that's going to assign you your login. So if you haven't received that yet, just touch base with them and get it from them. All logins are case sensitive. So it is important to remember that as you're logging in. You'll do your login and your password, and then you're going to go ahead and hit enter. For me, it's going to default me over to the admin section. So I'm going to go ahead and just toggle over to the teacher section because that is what we are going to be doing today. So this is always going to be your main teacher screen. Whenever you sign into Learning Beyond, this is what you're going to see. Again, everything is 100% online. The first thing you're going to notice will be your blue smiley face. So this is to have access to every single age group. So as a teacher, you will have access to everybody's curriculum. And this is going to come in handy if you're a substitute, if you're a floater, you have some mixed age group classrooms, or maybe you want to do some supplemental activities with the children. You will have access to all of the age groups. Now, you can toggle between age groups just by clicking on them. So there I've switched over from that pre-K age group over to the infant age group. And whenever you sign in, you're going to want to make sure that you're looking at that blue smiley face. So that way you know exactly which age group's curriculum that you are in. Especially if you share devices with another classroom or with another age group. Usually if you're signing into the same device, it will default you over to your correct age group. But if you do share devices between different age groups, it will sometimes toggle between the different age groups. So just every time you sign in, make sure your blue smiley face is at the correct age group. Again, to switch between age groups, you'll just click on that smiley face, and then you can click on the age group that you want to go into. Now, these will be all of your tiles. So I'm going to walk you through every single tile and show you exactly what it is used for. So the first tile right here is going to be your lesson plans tile. And lesson plans are a great place to start. Once you first start using Learning Beyond, you can kind of explore and get an overview of all that we have to offer with Learning Beyond. Your layouts are going to pretty much look the same across the age group with some subtle difference. So the first difference that you're going to see will be our infants age group. Here, we're going to see that the infants and the young toddlers are going to have 4 weekly activities versus the daily activities. Now, we do this because we know with our infants and our younger toddlers that they usually require a lot of one-on-one attention. They're on their own schedules, which as an infant or young toddler teacher, you're doing those activities with them either one-on-one or 2-on-1 versus doing a group schedule, because everybody's not sleeping at the same time. Everybody is eating on different schedules. So you may be doing one activity, for example, exploring rattles. As an infant teacher, you may be doing this 2, 3, 4 times a day with different babies. Now, because you have weekly activities, it is not meant to do just this one activity with one baby once a week, and that's it. These are meant to be done throughout the week. So for example, with exploring rattles, you should be doing this activity at least 3 times with each child in your care. Because you want to repeat those activities so the children are gaining those skills that we want them to achieve. And we know with the littles, it takes a lot of repetition in order to do that. Now, if you ever feel like you need to expand on your activities, we know a 6-week-old baby is going to be vastly different than a 9-month-old baby. So one thing you can look at to expand on these activities, if you feel like you want to do a little bit more with your infants or your young toddlers, is coming into your daily activity, which is where the curriculum really lives at. And I am going to explore this with the older age groups as well. But one thing I want to highlight for those infant and young toddler teachers is the learning support area. So if you need to bring this activity up a little bit for those 9-month-olds in your care, you can look at your learning support area in order to do that. Or if you need to bring it down to those little babies in your care, you can also utilize that learning support area. So this will be kind of your pre-planning tool as you're looking at all of the activities and how you want to move forward with implementing the activities with your children one-on-one or 2-on-1. So going ahead and jumping to that lesson plan. So here you're going to see those weekly activities. Let's go ahead and jump over to older toddlers so we can see what a weekly format's going to look like. So with our older toddlers, you will see that we move from those weekly activities to daily activities, because these guys are going to be 2. So you definitely need to keep them busy. You don't need to do quite as much repetition. You don't want to do the same activity every single day with them because they will get bored. Plus, you're able to do more in a group-like schedule, so you're able to accomplish a little bit more throughout your day. Now, whether they're infants, young toddlers, or older toddlers, you guys are going to all have the same categories of activities. So whether they're daily or they're weekly, you each will have a STEAM, a language and literacy, a physical development, and then a music and movement activity. But as we transition one more time to either preschool or pre-K, you're going to see one more change happen. We're going to go from 4 activities to 5 activities. And then our categories are going to change a little bit as well, because we're really prepping these guys for kindergarten. So every day you will have 5 activities to accomplish with the children. And they are going to have a STEAM, language and literacy, physical development, interactive reading, and then a cognitive development. And this would be daily. Along the top, you're going to see all of our lesson plans, no matter the age group, are downloadable as well as printable. So you can print this out. You will also see our note section at the bottom, which you can utilize for any type of notes. So if you need to highlight any standards for planning purposes, if you need to highlight any of the activities, you can always utilize your note section in printing off the lesson plan. You can toggle between either the portrait or the landscape mode, but just know with the landscape mode, it will break it apart into 2 pages versus the portrait mode that keeps it onto 1 page. Along the top here of the lesson plan, you will also see our blue box, and this is going to indicate your weeks. So our weeks are going to be set up in a developmental progression where we are building or we are building from those previous week's activities. So as you guys are looking at this, your week 1 should be your start of the school year. So I know that's fast approaching for a lot of schools. That's usually happening in August or September. While down here, weeks 51, 52 are going to be your end of the school year. So for our pre-K friends, that means their next week, they should be headed off to kindergarten. So depending on when your school year starts, you may just want to start getting familiar with Learning Beyond, playing around with it, selecting a couple of activities to kind of get the feel for everything. And then at your start of the school year, jump right in for week 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on one of these daily activities so we can start exploring what that looks like for the older children. So just like the infants, you can click directly onto the daily activity. It's going to bring you directly into that. Or if you're on your main teacher screen, you're going to see our daily activities tile is located right there. So there are always 2 ways you can access your daily activity. And as I mentioned, that's where the curriculum really lives at. Along the top, you're going to see your weeks again in your developmental progression, with week 1 being your start of the school year, week 52 being your end of the school year. Directly next to the weeks, you will see your days in your orange box. So our days are going to be set up as a 1 through 5 versus Monday through Friday. And we do this to allow for extension of learning opportunities. So teachers, you have flexibility to dive deeper into any of these activities if they spark their children's interest and you want to explore more, or if you're ever closed for the day, you're on a field trip for that day, you can always move those activities to another day. So those are 2 ways that you can be very flexible with the daily activities. Along the top, you're going to see your categories that you can click on that you would need to do each day for our older toddler, preschool, and pre-K friends. Directly underneath that will be your monthly theme. So we do utilize monthly themes with Learning Beyond. The monthly theme for the first 4 weeks of school is getting to know our classroom and our friends. Directly after that monthly theme is going to be your weekly focus topic. So the weekly focus topic for that first week of school is the classroom family. The older toddlers, preschool and pre-K will have those weekly focus topics. The younger toddler and infant groups will just have monthly. Directly next to that will be your activity name. So this is Llama, Llama, Mrs. Mama. And then right here are going to be your standards. So coming into your standards, you are going to find primary as well as secondary standards. So we do utilize a cross-curricular standard. So all of your lessons are going to have those multiple standards connected to them. We know with standards that they need to be integrated throughout the day to allow for multiple exposure and experiences to happen for your students in order for them to acquire new skills. Plus, we also know that even though this could be an interactive reading activity or a STEAM activity, other standards and skills are being addressed and being touched upon as well. So an interactive reading activity is never just reading. STEAM activity is never going to just be science-based. You're going to be doing multiple aspects of the standards within all of those activities. Jumping back, the next thing you're going to see will be your objective. This is also found within the lesson plan, so you can always find this here. And this is the main goal that you want to achieve with this activity. With the objective, you will see a Learning Beyond standard code, and this is how you can easily align the Learning Beyond curriculum with your state standards. We do have a state alignment tool, which I will show you shortly. That's going to be found under the resources section. Next, you're going to see your materials and your setup. So this is everything that you would need to do to prepare for the activity. You're going to look at this for your pre-planning parts, and then you're also going to want to pull this up either the night before the activity or morning of to gather all the materials and set up for each day. Scrolling down, the next thing you will see will be your procedures and your teacher talk. Now, this is your recipe for teaching. So if you are a newer teacher or you're just having one of those days, it can be hard sometimes to plan your lessons while making sure you're covering all of the standards and skills that we need to cover. There's always a lot happening sometimes. So this will tell you exactly what to ask as you're going through the lessons, your open-ended, your thought-provoking questions. So you don't have to worry about missing anything. But please feel free to use this as a springboard. So if you've been teaching for a while, this could be just a good reminder of different questions to ask or things that you need to hit on as you're implementing the lessons. However, the layouts and the questions are intentional because we do have those standards integrated. So just keep that in mind as you're going through the lessons and the activities. But you can always feel free to take this and run with it and expand upon it as much as you want to. You can make any of these activities your own to accomplish those skills that you need to accomplish with your student. Scrolling down, the next thing you'll see will be your learning support. So just like with the infants, it's going to be located here at the bottom of the page. And this gives you ideas or ways on how to adapt the lessons for both whole group as well as small group settings. So we know sometimes children thrive better in that circle time routine, doing these big group reading activities. They kind of feed off each other, can ask each other questions. And sometimes attention spans just don't allow it, and you need to bring it into a smaller group setting. So this is a place that you can look to, and it'll offer you that support. It'll also give you suggestions on how to adapt the activity for more high engaged learners, as well as for any kiddos that may just need a little bit more support. So I would say with planning, this is where you're going to spend more of your time, just like with the babies. After reviewing that activity, reading it over, and getting your materials, this is really where the heart of the learning is taking place at, and where you're going to differentiate and meet every child where they are at developmentally. Directly next to that is going to be your social emotional development area. And this is going to be a key support within all of the daily activities. So we have this from infants all the way up to pre-K. And this is going to be that built-in support because we really want to develop that whole child. We know that when the children are going to be with you for most of their waking hours, that gaining social emotional skills can be very critical. We know with that social emotional development that it's going to go hand in hand with academic learning. So this is going to give that key support to you in helping your students self-regulate, understand their emotions and feelings, as well as develop those key communication skills. So I'm going to go ahead and pause right here. Does anybody have any questions about lesson plans, how to access the curriculum, or how to use the daily activities? All right, I think everybody's good so far, so I'm going to keep going. Anybody has any questions, please drop those in the chat box at any time, and I will be sure to address them. So the next thing we're going to check out is going to be our at-home connection, which is located here down at the bottom in the green box. And the at connection is going to be your built-in parent newsletter or parent communication tool. It is downloadable as well as printable, so you can share. Yes, do you have a question? Okay, I just want to make sure. So it's going to be downloadable as well as printable, so you can share that out through any parent communication apps that you have. But it just shows parents all the learning that you're doing either each day or each week in the classroom for those infants and younger toddlers. So those you're singing, those books that you're reading, do you have a question? And all of the learning that's taking place behind it. So this is going to help you answer that why. So sometimes we know you're going to hear the kids, parents are going to pick them up at the end of the day, and they're going to say, "What did you do today?" And they're going to look at you and say, "Played." And then parents are looking at you like, "You guys just played all day?" Which, if we're doing our jobs right, children are learning through playing. But this is going to show parents exactly what that play means and what the children are learning each day. They can ask more specific questions, maybe even touch on some of these skills at home. So it's giving them that encouragement. So it's really going to help you aid and build that classroom community as you're developing those positive teacher-parent relationships, which we know is absolutely critical for early childhood education. Now, jumping back and scrolling down, the next thing you will see here at the bottom is going to be your teacher reflection. And this is be a quick check-in for you that you can complete at the end of each activity. We're going to have our pre-built-in questions as well as our note section at the bottom, which you can utilize for any type of notes. So whether you want to adjust the activity for next time, you don't have to remember. You can put those types of notes here. Whether somebody went home sick for the day and they didn't participate in the activity, you could put those types of notes. Or let's say a child achieved a specific skill during the activity, and you want to remember to notate their assessment later. Great thing is your directors will be able to see the teacher reflections, so they can also support you in the classroom. So if you're struggling a little bit, you can put that there. They're going to see it and they're going to know exactly what support that you need. So this is also a great communication tool for you, between you and your admin team members. Now let's go ahead and jump back to that main screen. You may have seen me click up here, but your little logo right here will always jump you back to that main teacher screen. So if you're ever lost in the curriculum, you're not really sure how you got there, just click your logo and it'll always default you back. So we have already been through our first 4 tiles. You can also access your at-home connections through this tile and the teacher reflections through this tile. The next thing I want to show you is our search feature. So if you ever want to do extra activities with your children, or maybe your children are struggling in achieving a specific skill, so you want to find some activities to help them develop that specific skill, you do have the ability to search through our entire database of curriculum. You can filter by age group, by topic, as well as that keyword or that skill. So I'm going to go ahead and put fine motor in. And this is going to pull up all of my fine motor related activities within the pre-K4 age group. I can click directly into the activity. I can read it over, see if it's something I want to do with my kids, or if not, I can go back and continue to go through my search results, finding the one that I do want to accomplish with them. All of the other resources are going to be found underneath this resources tile for you. And this may be where you spend a little bit more of your time, because we do have a ton of resources. One thing we will have will be this training page, and you're going to want to click on Center Training. And when you do that, this is going to take you to our Getting Started teacher page. So this is going to have some great information for you. The first thing you're going to see at the top will be our support email. You can email us at support with any questions that you have, and we will respond to that email within 1 to 2 business days. Aside from our support email, we also have our phone number. We are open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, aside from the major holidays. So you can also call us with any questions that you have. And then you will also see on our website this little chat box down here. So if you have any questions, you can also reach out to us via live chat. And those are going to be about the same hours as our phone system. So I don't think we have representatives in overnight or in the late night hours, but they are available that Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, aside from those resources on how to reach us and with your questions, you will see a link to the calendar, and this is the training that you are doing today. But if you need a refresher course, or if you have a new hire that's joining you, a new assistant teacher coming into your classroom, you can always direct them to here, and they can sign up for a training individually. And then in those things, you will see helpful videos on Learning Beyond. Things like assessments, teacher reflections, how to access your teacher's guide, which I definitely encourage you to read these over when you have the opportunity to, because they have a ton of tips and resources in them, from things like suggested daily schedules to center layouts to helpful materials that can all be found under the teacher's guide. And then the other thing that you will see will be your teacher template. So we are moving away from templates with Learning Beyond, but some of our activities still do call for templates, and those can be found right here. You can also feel free to kind of Google and look for a good template for you. If you don't like these alphabet cards, you can use something that you already have on hand. We always encourage substitutions in using what you have on hand when you're looking at materials. And then finally, the last thing you will see will be an informational video if you were using us as a supplemental curriculum. Now, the next thing you will see next to the training is going to be your standards, which, as I mentioned, we are aligned with all state standards. So this is going to take you to that state alignment tool. To align to your state standards, you will have those objective codes, those Learning Beyond codes found at the end of every objective. And then all you would need to do is find your state along the side. and then your age group that you teach along the top here. So I'm located in Florida, and let's just say I'm a Florida infant teacher. This is going to pull up my Florida Early Learning and Developmental Standards. I can use my codes to link directly to my state standards. We also have additional alignments for you. So if you need any type of DRDP alignments, Head Start, class, which I know is very big right now, QRIS, TSG, and then STAR alignments. So all of our curriculum alignments can be found right there. And then next to the standards, you will see our pacing guide. So if you're not open all 52 weeks of the year, or if you have, I know some classes are not open all 52 weeks of the year, maybe you run a group that is from August to May, you can utilize our pacing guide to adapt the curriculum while ensuring that you're covering all of the standards that you need to cover. So this will show you exactly what weeks you can skip, as well as what weeks that you do need to implement while covering those standards. Moving to the top, you will see a list of all of our monthly themes, including our weekly focus topics located right here. Our curriculum map is located right there. Scope and sequence, and then finally our teacher's guide. Now going into our teacher's guide, you're going to see our first two tiles, which are about how to use Learning Beyond. So after the training today, I would say after that teacher getting started page, these are also some very helpful tiles that you can review. Down here is also your teacher's guide, which is found on that teacher's getting started page, and it's also located right here within the curriculum. Now, all of our other tiles will have articles as well as webinars in them. So where if you read all of the articles and watch all the videos, you're going to earn a 1-hour in-service certificate for those. Classroom environments is going to be a full 1-hour training in and of itself. So we do have 2 full hours of professional development that are built into here. In order to get your in-service certificates, all you need to do is watch your videos and read your article, and then you would email us at support@thelearningbeyondpaper.com, letting us know your name, your center's name, and the date that you watched your videos, and we will issue you your certificate within 2 to 3 business days. So we do have to be notified once you do that training, and then we will issue you your certificate. Jumping back though, you're going to see our LBPD training tile. And this is going to take you to our partnership site where we have partnered with Burleson Education to offer you opportunities to earn in-service hours as well as continuing education units. So there are actually 3 classes that are featured here right now. And in order to earn these certificates, all you have to do is watch the videos. They're about an hour long, 45 minutes to an hour, and then take the corresponding quiz. So whether you need in-service or CEUs. Now, I do believe you have to get a 7 out of 10 to pass the quiz and be issued a certificate. With these trainings, you do not need to email us. So we are notified once you complete the training, and then we will issue you your certificate within 2 to 3 business days. If you do need an expedited certificate, you can always contact us through the chat, the phone, or through email, and we will do our best to expedite that certificate. But if you don't, it will be issued to you within 2 to 3 business days. And also keep checking back here because I know we are expanding this area to include more classes. So if you ever need more in-service hours, just double check here and see if there's any additional classes for you. Now we just have 2 more tiles left to go over. So our second to last tile is going to be our materials tile. And coming into here, you're going to have 2 different options for viewing materials. You're going to have your weekly materials view, which will be more of your shopping list. It is downloadable as well as printable. So you can kind of print it out, cross off anything you don't need, highlight, circle anything you do want to purchase. Bearing in mind, you can use what you have on hand and substitute with items. So for example, one of our activities is sorting counting bears into 2 different color groups. That's for the older toddlers. If you don't have counting bears, you're going to look at your activity, which is sorting by 2 different colors. You don't have counting bears, you don't have to rush out and grab counting bears. You can if you want, but you can substitute with things like Legos, foam pieces, even little bits of construction paper. So just read your activity, see what those essential materials are, and then see what you have on hand so you can adapt. You don't have to take these lists fully literal. You can definitely utilize what you have on hand. And this is another example. So with songs, those can be found on any type of streaming service, such as Spotify or Pandora. With the Good Morning song with Greg and Steve, this is going to be about good morning rituals. If you have been using and in the classroom for 10 years and you've always used a different Good Morning song, keep using the Good Morning song that you always use. Don't feel like you have to immediately switch over to the Greg and Steve Good Mornings. If you need help, it's there for you. If you don't have a Good Morning song, this is a great Good Morning song to utilize. But if you do have something that you've used for 5 years, feel free to use that. Any books that you see can also be found, if you don't have them at any local library. They're usually popular early childhood favorites. So if you don't have it, you can visit your local library. You can substitute with a book that has similar concepts in it, or you can look at digital copies of the books as long as your school allows. So things like Epic Books, Kindle, or even YouTube that have a lot of these books on read out loud format. Coming back, you will also see your daily materials view. And this is a great pre-planning tool for you to utilize. So you can pull this up the night before the activity or even morning of, grab all your materials and get all of your setup accomplished before the children even come in for the day. We do include your prep list for you so you can easily see everything that you need to gather and anything that you need to specifically do to get ready for that activity. So this is a great time-saving tool for you. Now, the last thing we're going to check out is going to be our assessment. Now, I know you guys may be doing a lot of assessments. I know some centers have to do government assessments or state assessments or even center-based assessments. So you may not be doing a Learning Beyond assessment. But if you do want to do one of our assessments, the first thing you're going to want to do is click on Assessment. And you should see your class listed right here. If you see something that says this, just one second, no classes assigned, that is something that you're going to need to talk with your director about, and then they can correct that for you. But if you do want to do the assessments, you're going to want to go in. Let's jump back here. You'll see your class, and then you're going to see that piece of paper with the stopwatch. You're going to click on that, and this is going to pull up the assessment for you. And these will be the kiddos that are in your class. So to start a new assessment, you can hit that plus icon, and this will start a brand new assessment for you. Or to work off an assessment that you already started, you will hit the icon. This is an ongoing developmental assessment. So you're going to see your developmental domains along the top here, and then your skills will be along the side. And this is something I recommend doing because this is a developmental assessment. You are not going to accomplish this or fill this out for every single child in one day. This is meant to be filled out over the course of a couple of weeks to maybe a month. So keep that in mind. I definitely recommend focusing on either a couple of skills for the day or focusing on a couple of children for the day. Now with the assessment, you're going to find the area that you're working on, and I'll scroll down a little bit. You're going to either check mark those skills right here of what the children are consistently, frequently doing, observed or attempting to do, or maybe not observed yet. Once you are filling out for this child specific assessment, you're going to want to scroll all the way down and hit submit. This is going to save the assessment for you. If you were to go into the assessment and make changes without hitting submit, and then let's say we try to hit back, it's going to show you that your changes will be lost if you don't scroll down and hit save. So it is important to always scroll down and hit save to save exactly the information that you inputted on the assessment. With this being a developmental assessment, you can complete it as many times as you want, but most schools will do the assessments at the beginning of the year, maybe mid-year, and then again at the end of the year. Once you are done with the assessment, though, it is downloadable as well as printable, so you can share that out with parents and utilize that as a goal-setting tool to help the child meet those developmental milestones as you're reinforcing those classroom and home connections. But that's our overview of Learning Beyond, the teacher section. Does anybody have any questions? Is there anything I could highlight for you further before signing off for today? All right, well, sounds like everybody's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. If nobody has any questions, you guys can feel free to sign off. It was a pleasure showing you Learning Beyond. Feel free to reach out to us at any time, though, with any questions that you have through that support email, that phone number, or that live chat.
All right, take care. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.
Likewise.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.